know, in life, sometimes we learn things about people that are so big and shocking that every time that you look at that person after you learn these things, it may make you look at this person differently. And that's kind of how I feel when it comes to Emily with some of this shocking information I learned about Emily's past. So buckle up, guys, because this is probably going to be a long video digging into Emily's last marriage. So that's one thing that wasn't shared on the show, that Emily has been married before. The marriage was extremely toxic, and some messages that were exposed that were sent by Emily are pretty messed up. So this was posted by Emily's husband's baby mama. He had 2 baby mamas at the time, and his baby mama Bethany posted, and she said, "Hi everyone, Danielle," which is one of his baby mamas, and Bethany, which is the second one, "we would like to warn everyone and anyone speaking to or wanting to get into a relationship with Emily to watch what you're doing." And this is from back in October of 2022. She said, "This is how she left the home of our children's father, the rooms of our children, and the area our children spend some of their time or spend some of their lives. She broke in, she stole weights from the gym, the dishwasher, she stole most of my son's clothing, stole all the TVs, the gaming consoles, she vandalized all the bedrooms, the kitchen, and the back door has been tampered with, and I'll leave all these pictures here for you to look through. After finding threatening text messages regarding minor children, let me know if you'd like to see them. This is the icing on the cake. Feel free to send screenshots and share as you wish. Don't worry, we'll clean all this up so that our children don't see how cruel someone can be. The text messages are in the comments. You will have to scroll up." Here are some pictures of all the rooms that were shared by the baby mama. This is the husband's house after it was ransacked by Emily. And this is the crazy thing. So these messages were revealed that were allegedly from Emily to the husband, where Emily was talking about how much she hated the husband's kids, and she was saying some crazy stuff like the husband needs to get rid of his kids as soon as possible and sign his rights over. And she said, "Look, I'm going to do life in prison if I never have to see your kids again." And I'm like, damn, what do you mean by that? She literally hated her husband's kids. So we're going to get into these messages. First, I just want to point out a few comments. So the baby mama said, "I didn't even do this to his home when him and I had our falling out. It's pitiful what she's done." And someone said, "Did she destroy the house like this?" And the ex said she was living there, and this is how she left the home after multiple times after she wasn't supposed to be there, because it sounds like there's a restraining order put in place. And someone said, "So what, you didn't turn her in?" And one of the baby mamas said the police can't do anything because they're married and it's a civil matter. And then another one of the baby mamas said, "No, her name is not on the house. She's done a lot more than this. This is what has gone public." And someone said, "Okay, post the messages." And this person said, "Once I get home, I will. We are working on restocking his home with cleaning supplies, a vacuum, a mop, the necessities to clean, because those are mysteriously missing as well." So not only did she trash his house, but she took away anything that he can use to possibly pick up this mess afterwards. And so then this girl, one of the baby mamas, said, "Here's the lovely response that we're getting. Probation has not been involved as well. She's well aware. We all been in contact with them, and don't worry, we will still be cleaning up her toxic mess." So this is Emily's response after this was exposed. She said, "I have been aware of the post, which is probably why you're checking out my page. Completely understandable. I have said time and time again that I will own up to being toxic and saying things that are completely unlike me, which is a huge reason I have taken this time to drastically work on myself during this healing process. I will say that I was in shock when I showed up to the house, which it appeared to be ransacked. I thought it was probation due to his previous DV offenses, which is what I wrote it off as. The items that were taken from my house I have paid for, and I'll gladly show those to those who feel they need that closure during my divorce. If you feel the need to message me and tell me how you feel, that's understandable as well. Everyone's entitled to the way they feel and how they individually handle a situation. For those that personally know me, they know the truth, and I will always be an open book in hopes to be there to help others. Now let's get to these crazy ass messages. So Emily texted her husband and she said the kids are absolutely not allowed around the chinchilla, and Marley can figure out how to make up for this because clearly she's too effing immature to play with anything unsupervised. Then she's talking about her husband's daughter, and he said okay. And she said, I'm not kidding or being slightly sarcastic. Another reason why your kids shouldn't be here. And he said they'll always be there, and that's that, no choice. And she said, and do you think sorry will cut it? Just know I'll swing. No, F your kids. They don't deserve to be in my house. And he said, maybe you do need to go for a couple days. You're not going to threaten any of my kids. And she said, try me. She's not even your damn kid. And then he said, what do you mean? Emily, stop or leave for a few days. And she said, effing try me when it comes to them. I'll willingly go to prison for life if I never have to see them again. And he said, you'll see them on Tuesday. So now either get over it or you can leave and get your shit together. And at the time, he only had like partial custody of the kids. He saw the kids on Saturdays, I believe, and on Tuesdays, or on Saturdays and every other Tuesday. I don't know, they list the exact arrangement, but she's freaking out over only having to see the kids a few days a week, and it's already too much for her. Keep in mind, this is when she had her young son living with her husband at the time. And she said, and he said, you'll see them Tuesdays, so now either get over it or you can leave and get your shit together. And she said, ha ha ha, and she can figure out how to fix it. He said, am I laughing? I'm serious. You're not going to be an asshole or threaten her. And she said, try me, I effing dare you. I have no problem making myself notorious. My Jeep is effing keyed. And he said, you're seriously going to hold my son for me if I go with my daughter to dance? So he had plans to take his daughter to like this daddy-daughter dance. Emily got mad and then suddenly said, no, you're not allowed to go. And she was acting like she was going to leave him if he went. And he said, I'm going, there's no choice. And she's like, okay, bye. And he said, I'm not doing that tomorrow. And she said, of course, why not? You're still obsessed with your exes. So of course you pick your exes over me. That's fine, nothing new. And he said, I'm not picking them over you. I'm picking seeing my daughter for something that she's looked forward to. And Emily said, no, F you. And he said, when you want to accept the kids aren't going anywhere, let me know and come back. And she said, I'll never accept you being obsessed with your exes. And then people are like, okay, why is he even giving her the option to come back? Like, and why is he allowing her to talk about your kids like that? Everyone kept saying, why don't you show this to the police? Like, she's literally threatening your children. I would be scared. And I guess the baby mama got a hold of all these messages because the father went to jail, and she said they've been shown to officers. It's something that needs to be handled when their father gets out, is what we're told. So what happened was the father ended up going to jail, and when he was in jail, like after a month, he released his phone to one of his child's mothers, and she ended up going through the phone, and she found all these messages from Emily, and that's when she decided to take all these pictures of them. And then after she destroyed the house, she decided to leak all these messages. So we saw in an earlier message that Emily was trying to tell her husband that one of his kids weren't biologically his. She's like, she's not even yours. And he said, she is mine, and I know she's mine. Know something like that. If they tell, I'm going to handle it, because what I should do, and I don't care, if she could have handled it, I don't want her doing that shit here. So she said she's trying to talk crap on one of the baby mamas, saying that she clearly can't parent, and Emily's like, this is complete BS. And she said, go F yourself. You're way too effing civil, and I can't do this. you beyond disrespected me. And he said, it's not about Mar not being civil. Knock the shit off with social media. So she was going to Snapchat and posting all their business. So that's where he said, stop doing this stuff on social media. And she said, no, it's about you being a disgrace to me. And he said, because I corrected my kid. And she said, you could have done it separately, but no, that's the issue. You left my son in the effing car to go play parent with your effing ex. It sounds like he left her son in the car while he went inside one of his baby mama's house to go see his kids. And he said, I kept checking on him, don't worry, that's what took so long. And Emily said, I don't effing believe you. You still played parent with her, so F you. You wonder why I hate your effing kids. Effing disgusting. I'm not coming home. I can't be around you. And he said, delete the shit off Snap. And she said, absolutely not. I'll keep going. And he said, okay. And she said, couldn't even effing talk to me. Huh, wait to really be a disgrace. And he said, what am I supposed to say? You try to verbally and mentally destroy me and then act like everything is okay. I'm done doing that. And she said, this is why I can't wait and look forward to it every day. No, nothing is okay, but you could at least apologize. I hate you so damn much. You disrespected me you disrespected me as your damn wife, and you chose to parent with your ex. And that makes me wonder, like, her co-parenting relationship with the father of her child must be completely non-existent, as she thinks like co-parenting is completely toxic, like she's trying to make it sound. And he said, you want me to apologize for being a parent? Like, no. And you don't want to apologize for the shit that you said to me. And she said, haha, listen to my voicemail. Hear how I really feel about you. And he said, I didn't get one. And she said, then call me so I can tell you. Get a shot test because she's not yours. And he said, sorry, Drakey is crying, so I'm taking care of him. And that's Emily's son. And she said, such a liar. I hate you. Then he said, getting her talking about his daughter. She said, whatever, it took a while. And he said, heading home. And she said, Kay, just completely ignore that then, bye. And he said, home. And he said, of course, you're being sketchy, and we wonder why I have such an issue with your damn kids. And he said, I'm not at all. I text you as I normally do, and I'm not fighting with you being crazy. And she said, no, you are, but whatever. I'm nothing like anyways. And he said, I'll see you when you get home. And she said, roads are bad, can't drive. And then she said, she started going off on him and told him that he makes terrible decisions. And she said, with not having a million kids, yes, I was trying to act like she's better than him because he has 3 kids and she has 1. And she said, I hate seeing your name in my phone memory. Like, I don't need that negativity in my life, and I've been deleting them every time they pop up because no, it's not okay. And he said, thanks. You could have just not hung out with people that told you they wanted sex, but yet you still did, and that would have avoided the kids issue. So whose fault is that? Emily said, I don't get why you're trying to blame you having a million kids on me. Your kids negatively impact my life, me having low self-esteem, and just recently realized how used I was. Being does not negatively impact you. The only thing you do is make the self-growth journey a million times harder, and I can't wait till I'm free. And if that takes when you unalive me, so let it. I gave you a choice a while ago, and you still put your kids first and act like a proud dad, which you shouldn't be. You could be so much more, but they hold you back, and it's unacceptable. I hope one day you actually realize they are a burden. That is crazy work to say that about someone else's kids, especially when you got with this man, knowing this man had 3 kids and still chose to marry him. And the mother, she defended them, and she said, look, my children are the best thing that's ever happened to me, you know, and they don't do anything crazy, and even if they do, they're children. And then Emily said, think of all you could have done, and you can't now. And the fact that you were happy with the one as a family makes me convinced that you should just go back to her. It's effed up that you expect me to be okay with any of it. And honestly, around their birthdays, I don't want any attention from you because I know you were once happy with a different family. And I'm the awkward one that is made to look stupid. But you made that decision to get with a man knowing he had a family in the past. And he said, okay, but you realized it, that you were being used, but you kept going back to it instead of avoiding people and not talking to guys that acted that way. So bullshit. How about if all that happened that way, you actually do something to the ones you still can? I wasn't happy. I didn't want anything with them. I wanted out, and I stayed for the kids so they could have a normal life. I'm here with you getting mentally abused daily because you're crazy and you don't see what you do wrong. Then Emily got real pissed. She said, I effing hate you. Don't come home. Go F your kid's mother. I don't want to see you. You're an effing piece of ish, and I hate everything about you. Go back with your other effing family because obviously you care about them more. I effing hate you. You make my life so effing difficult by leaving this goddamn car seat out in the effing rain. But yet you're glad that we go on your back of a effing car and get your goddamn piece of shit kid's car seat out and put it in the effing car. I effing hate you. I hope you know how much I effing hate you. You are so effing worthless, I can't stand it. I can't stand you. You better not show up because I swear I can't deal with you. Then Emily said earlier, like, the stuff that she took are all things that she paid for. And the baby mama said, paid for my son's clothes? Please. We'll all see later how she really felt about all those children. And I guarantee you, she didn't pay for a single thing for these precious babies. And she said, I also don't think anybody else would be slamming alcohol as they're ransacking the house. And they showed this evidence of further proof on why they believe it was Emily that trashed the house like that and took all these items. Again, this lady literally said that she's willing to go to prison for life if she never has to see these kids again. And then her husband said, I want nothing to do with my exes and I want only you, but I've been waiting for this shit all day because it's how you always are. Once you calm down and come home, I'll talk to you. And she said, I'm not talking to you. I'm absolutely done with you. I told you needed to take his medicine and you still didn't give an F, so F you and your effing kids. I'll gladly come back and tell them how I feel. And he said, okay, I'm giving him his medicine right now. Where's it at? Because he had Emily's son at the time and she's going off on him and she's always trying to make it sound like he takes care of his kids better than he takes care of hers. Then she said, I can't get a effing day off to try to get the name out there or even take okay pictures to post. I'm seriously losing my effing mind. I can't even find someone to effing hire. And this is her talking about her clothing business. Like at one time she had like 5 different storefronts where she had 5 different clothing boutiques. So she said, I can't take no pictures. I can't get my name out there. I'm seriously losing my mind. I can't even find someone to effing hire, let alone able to effing pay them. I can't even pay rent. How am I supposed to pay someone else? I need to just file bankruptcy at this point. I clearly failed and it's pointless to keep trying. I have nothing left on me to keep trying. It's pointless. Everything is effing pointless. I can't keep doing it. I try to save money by bringing Drake here and I just can't do it. It's so bad. I'm seriously screaming at him. I just honestly wish I had the balls to unalive myself. I'm seriously so tempted to just lock him in here and leave. I can't really effing can't. I should have just aborted him. I can't handle this. I can't even eat. I'm so effing miserable. And he said, I can't wait to see you. And she said, I wish you actually were being genuine, but I know you're not. And it wasn't meant for me. Then she said, you aren't effing there, got me, I'll snap out of it, but you're just assuming it's gonna be a shit night isn't helping. Go effing be with your other effing families so you can have a good effing life. And he said, the F I'm not. I'm sick of being the only one there in our relationship. And she said, what do I do? His diaper's completely full and he's peeing through. And it sounds like she got in a fight with him, left, and was just sitting in her car somewhere. She said, I need effing help right now. I can't effing do this. You wonder why I'm so effing unhappy. You do anything for your damn other families, but F me. I put a poly mailer on him. And he said, I mean, at least it's something. And she said, no, it's not, because he pooped. And then he said, I'm guessing I was having a bad dream of some sort. And she said, okay, or clearly I'm just a piece of ish and that's what I deserve. I wasn't going to tell you till a few years down the road, but like, I just don't. It's going to be such an embarrassment to him with how many kids you have. Or he absolutely cannot go to Doobies? I don't know what this says. But I can't have that. It doesn't look good at all. And with the image I'm trying to make for myself, it's not okay. It's embarrassing. And I hate even having it some days because I don't want anyone to ever think they're my kids. I'm just so embarrassed of everything. Like, I don't know. I keep pretending to me that it's okay. And I hope one day you'll understand that. Good for you for wanting to have a bunch of kids and multiple families. I'm not that type of person, and I never will be. And I really hope one day that we can just go about our ways. And you know what I think? I think that Emily probably was a single mother struggling financially and struggling just being a mother by herself, not having any help, that she probably married the first guy that came along that wanted something serious with her just because she wanted to have that family and wanted that help so bad. But it sounds like she liked the idea of having that help more than the idea of actually being with a guy who had multiple kids. And she said, I seriously effing hate you. And he said, I love you too. And she said, no, stop bringing up your effing kids. I can't stand them. You think I want to hear about it? I need to go back to reminding you how much of a piece of ish you are so you effing get the hint. I just want to tell you about my feelings, but no, you won't even let me talk. Clearly, I haven't gone far enough to remind you, so I'll keep that in mind. And he said, I didn't bring them up. Listen, you're having a bad morning. I was more than willing to let you talk and vent. I was trying to reassure you about your clothes. You're having a bad day, so please just text me when you calm down. And she said, why the F did you have to have so many damn kids? I effing hate it. I'm unbelievably not happy, and I don't know why I ever thought it would be okay, because it's far from okay. It's disgusting, embarrassing, and you should be ashamed for it. Okay, but this is the same girl that also went on national TV bragging about how she's a hooker. I mean, come on, make it make sense. One person asked one of the baby mamas and said, how many kids does this man have? Because she makes it seem like he's got like 10. And she said he has 3. A 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a 4-year-old. 2 of which are mine, and the oldest is Danielle's. And then someone else commented and said, okay, does he have a child with her? And the baby mama said, not biologically. He was raising her son that she had previously. He was trying to adopt him. And someone said, okay, well, at least that didn't work out. And she said, yeah, that's her son and not his. The adoption didn't go through, so unfortunately, when this is all said and done, he'll have no rights to him, even though he took care of him every day for almost 2 years. And that's, like I said, someone was like, thank God that didn't go through, or he would be stuck paying child support on a child that wasn't even his. And I mean, that may be another explanation on, like I said, why Emily was wanting to rush the family thing, because she wanted someone to help provide for her child and help with her child. One person said that the sad part is she didn't even raise her son until she got with Kevin. Her mom and sister did. Her mom always bitched about her not being a parent. And someone commented and said that they actually worked with Emily's mom for a while. They said, I worked with her mom for a while at a nursing home, and she's always been spoiled and given everything she wanted. And her mom didn't have custody of Drake. She just took care of him, so I'm assuming she didn't have no choice in the matter. And she blocked me too. But sadly, people are still on her side after reading these texts. Then they're just as effed up, because this is 100% not okay. Emily said that she didn't want to say anything bad about either mother of his kids because she said, I don't want to bash another woman who went through the same situation as me with the same individual. But I mean, behind closed doors in these messages, she had no problem bashing both of them. And this is a comment from one of the baby mamas, and she said, and no one filed emergency custody to get more child support. The whole $140 I get for my daughter a child support, who cares about the freaking money? Yes, he should be helping raise his kids and pay for things. They're his kids also. You're supposed to be civil and co-parent for your kids, and you got mad that he was too civil. I can't even keep my mouth shut on that dumb comment. And the other baby mama said, for more child support, please. Then one of the baby mamas said, also to clarify, like I said, for everything else she's done, good for her. Bethany and I have been in her shoes and in a relationship with this man. He knows we won't deal with his shit, and he knows that we call him out on his BS. To clarify, what I'm pissed about is the things that she said about these children and what was taken from these children. People get mad and say effed up things. We've all been there. What you don't do is bring the kids into it. Facts. They didn't ask to be involved in your life, and they didn't ask for you to marry their dad, so don't drag them through this mess of a marriage and divorce. I'm not defending either side. Bethany and I are defending our kids because they're hurt by all this. Everything else can stay between you and Kevin and stay there. This is an older post from Emily talking about her husband at the time. She said people don't realize how fortunate they are to have the child's father actually want to be involved. I straight up used to think that all men were shit fathers until I met Kevin and witnessed the most pointless, irrelevant shit be done just because they want full control. On the other side, I see shit fathers who shouldn't have rights, but they do, just so the child has a father in their life. Then Emily asked him for a password to something, and she said, are you seriously denying me a password? Delete it all now. She wanted him to delete all his social media pages, and she said, no reason you even need a damn phone. I effing hate you so damn much. And he said, I'm not deleting Messenger. I still want to video Drake. And she said, he's not yours. And she said, don't. And she said, it's true. I want you to sign off rights from your kids also. Really show I come first. And he said, I'm going to sleep. And she said, okay, of course. Well, I'll have a consultation tomorrow, so hopefully I'll know something by next week. Here she talks about hiding some stuff of her husband's daughters, and she's like, yep, I hid their stuff, like they're effing dumb, so I don't know what to tell you. And then he asked her and messaged her, and he's like, look, I need you to be honest with me about something. She's like, what? You're trying to gaslight me right now, and I wish you luck. And he's like, no, I just want the truth. And she said, of what? You're being effing psychotic right now. What the F don't you know the truth about? I effing hate you, so please don't come home. Do what you have to do so I never see you again. I hope she wasn't sending Justin messages like this. And then someone commented under the baby mama's post and said, is this the same girl that passed her OnlyFans cards out at a wedding, correct? And she said, word of mouth from someone at the wedding, yes. So she was passing out OnlyFans cards at the wedding. That is crazy work, man. I'd be pissed if I invited someone to my wedding and they did that. And then one of the baby mamas said, well, I'm at it so people know I'm not taking sides. Let's air Kevin's dirty laundry. This is Emily's husband at the time, the guy that she was texting and all these messages. She said, because he's not going to care. I myself have a PFA against him, which sounds like a restraining order, I'm assuming. He'll flat out tell you my PFA and Bethany's PFA are well deserved. Kevin has been an ass all of his life, and I've dealt with this man for 12 years now. I know who he is. I also know I'm not afraid to call him out on his shit, and I haven't been afraid for a couple years now. Kevin has done some effed up shit. Bethany and I have seen that side of him. We've also seen the other side with his kids, and he is and always has been a fantastic dad who cares about his kids. We've also seen the strides that he's made as a person. Is he perfect? Absolutely not. He is who he is. We just don't deal with his shit and put up with it. Also, his dirty laundry is public record and can be looked up. So if you want to go for it, like I said, this isn't a post taking sides. This is a post made out of anger for our children and someone who hasn't had to take responsibility or apologize for the things that were said about our children, and it sucks. You don't threaten someone's kids and talk the way you did about children and play the victim about everything. That's not how life works, and everyone needs to take responsibility for their actions on both sides of the equation. And then the other baby mama said, we're all so far from being controlled by him. That is a promise. The shit that people are coming up with is astonishing. And then Emily made a post and she's like, man, I wish I would have took more things out of the house because there's things in the house that were paid for or purchased on a Lowe's credit card that I'm still paying off. One of the baby mamas commented and said, oh, just pay that off with the money that you took from his bank account and from his investments. And this is another freaking nasty message from Emily. So she messaged her husband and she said, do you not realize that I'm too good to even hear about your damn kids, let alone celebrate their birthdays? Like, ew. Do you not realize that I would never stoop that low like you? And he said, I'm not stooping low. Like, I asked you to come with me. And she said, ew, disgusting. I would never. You obviously don't know my effing worth insulting me like that. How about you figure the F out? And he said, I legit try everything so you don't have to worry and everything, but this is what I get. I'll help you get your clothes ready. I know your worth. I'm fully aware of it because I love you. And the fact of everything here is you don't know mine. And she said that made no sense. I'll lose my mind if you touch my shit. Effing try me. I'm trying to talk to you about how you don't respect me, but of course it turns around on you. Okay, there's only a few times that he actually talked about his actual feelings, but he should be able to talk about how he feels too. And this is another message where Emily just said, I'm glad that you don't effing care. I hate you so much, you effing piece of ish. And she just messaged him over and over and over again. She's sending these messages off, and you can tell that she is mad. Like, her heart is probably beating through her chest as she's texting these messages. Like, she's so pissed off in some of these messages that you couldn't even hardly understand what she was trying to say. But luckily I was able to piece together. And he's like, look, I do care, but I'm not going to do this with you. Like, whenever you calm down, hit me up and we'll talk about it. Someone commented under the baby mama's post when she showed the condition of the house, exposing Emily. And this person was like, look, I wouldn't even be worried about, like, Emily and him right now. Because right now, like, he's messed up too, because any normal guy would have told Emily to F off if they're talking about his kids like that. And here you are worried about getting his house together so the kids can go back. Like, what the heck is this? And so the baby mama responded and she said, look, working over an hour away from home 7 days a week and living with the effing pig can do that to a house. I've lived in this house with him. This house has potential, and so does he. He's not getting away with anything, as he's currently incarcerated, and I promise you that when he gets out, he knows what line he has to walk to keep partial physical custody of these babies. And now that I don't have to deal with this psychopath and can actually successfully co-parent with the father of my 2 older children, I am more than willing to help him. It takes a village to raise kids, and I refuse to take their father away from them. They miss him, they love him, and I will forever support them having a relationship with him. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone like her? This was his karma, because he's done this to women. He met his match. He's paying for it. He's trying to keep the peace with someone who has a child that you've been raising and love as your own, but you have no rights to if she leaves. and not wanting to sign your rights away of your older 3 children will F with your head and have your heart torn and have you doing things to keep the peace. I truly believe he'll get out and get on his feet and do everything he can to walk the line that he needs to. And then someone said, look, that house and the pictures you posted, that house has been nasty. It didn't just get nasty. And the baby mama said the house was not upkept properly. That's for sure. But this is not what it looked like at the beginning of June. And she said, and no one has resided in the residence. That's the point there. This is Emily responding and talking about her marriage. She said, I think the most unfortunate part is the side of what has happened during my marriage is being shared without all the context behind it. Only Kevin and I know the truth, and what he portrays as the truth is obviously going to be different from what I say. From what a third-party source who honestly isn't aware of everything that has happened is going to be completely different from both our sides as well. I knew I shouldn't have mentioned publicly that I wanted to speak at his sentencing to not just hope for justice for me, but for the multiple who had to get PFAs before me. I have had deep conversations with so many about how during my marriage I became someone I didn't recognize, and I have said some insane things that aren't like me at all. I didn't know who I was, and I was completely lost in the toxic love. I become so public about so many aspects of my life that many people don't share, let alone write a blog for the whole world to see about. I've not spoke about my marriage yet on there because it's not the right timing. It took me about 3 years to open up about my pregnancy, which I put myself out there in the most vulnerable way. I will 100% admit to saying some off-the-wall things, to turning toxic, pushing him away, anything I possibly could. There's a lot of context that's missing though, and what was said behind closed doors, it's only one side that's being shared, which again, I completely understand and will not bash anyone if that's the way they feel to express a situation. I know what I can and have admitted to. However, there's so much I can't as well. If I could, I would in a heartbeat because that's just what I've always done. It's the context that's missing. It's the impact of a true narcissist that is being shown and not the whole story of what took place. Then someone commented and said, okay, if she's done these things and you know these things were going on, why would you let your children be around her? So the baby mama said he was arrested at the end of May. These messages were discovered in June when he signed his phone out to me. I had no idea that she was saying these awful things to my children. My son said one time, all Emily does is stare at us. Can you tell her to use her words? And my daughter just said that she was never there, and when she was so mean. My children are 6 and 4. He did a good job of hiding how she acted towards our children because he knows that we're mama bears. This is what happens. He was keeping his peace because she's something else. She also worked over an hour away and was gone about 90% of the time that he had physical custody of our children. Someone else said, again, why don't you go to the police or CPS? And the baby mama said, we've gone to CPS and the police. CPS has not done anything, and the police have said that it's a civil matter. We have no grounds to take custody of the children because he's not done anything to the children. So yes, we are cleaning the house so our children do not have to go back to that. He gets the children every other Saturday night and every Tuesday night. Okay, so once a week, sometimes twice a week, and that was too much for Emily to handle. So they do not spend much time there, but it would not be fair to our kids to take them away from their father because they love their father. And then someone else said, did he break up with this girl and she attacked the house? Like, what's going on? And the baby mama said, it was a shit show from the beginning. He was cheating on her and they both had issues. And Bethany and I, which is the other baby mama, we know from our relationships with him that he is abusive. she left him and pressed charges on him, and he's incarcerated, which is how we came across all this. And that probably explains why she was constantly accusing him of sleeping with his baby mama, is because he was probably going out and sleeping with other people. So that's why her thoughts were always running so wild. But still, there's no excuse to talk about the children like that. The children do not need to be dragged into this. Then we have this post from Emily from 2021, where she said, coming from a mom, I never wanted kids. I struggled big time when I found out I was pregnant. I wasn't what I wanted, and especially how it occurred. The want didn't come naturally until I realized the huge positive impact Drake made on my life, and now I'm beyond blessed to have a mini-me running around playing with shoes and saying thank you, and I'm stuck. I truly do not blame anyone for not wanting kids, and that is more than okay. Yeah, you probably don't blame anyone because you probably relate, because that sounds like it's you. It sounds like you're just trying to grow to accept it, no matter how much it sounds like you're probably not too happy about being a mother, because if you're that freaking hostile and loathe your husband's kids for just existing, then I can't even imagine like what she said to her own son, or how she may have been with her own son if all this is true. But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments below. I'm glad that this did not work out though, and they went their separate ways, because I mean, this probably would have been some like Andrea Yates shit where we're gonna see her on like a true crime documentary 5 years down the road, where all those kids are gonna be like drowned in the bathtub or something crazy, if they would have stayed together. Because the way that she was talking about those kids, that is not healthy, and it was only a matter of time before she snapped and did something crazy. That probably explains why she went for a guy in prison, because she was hoping that he'd be less likely to cheat since she has trust issues, and she probably thought it would give her a higher chance of finding a guy who doesn't have kids, because the older you get, especially once you start getting in your late 20s, your 30s, especially your late 30s, I mean, she's just in her late 20s, it's hard as you get older to find partners who don't have kids. So she probably thought, okay, let me just go get me a felon who's been in prison all his life, so he don't got no kids. Because yeah, she does not need to be with anybody with kids with the way she's acting. If she does date somebody with kids, then they probably need to be grown and like in college and moved out, because it seems like Emily is about the attention being 100% on her and nothing else. But that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything in the comments below. If you guys made it this long into the video, leave me a purple heart emoji in the comments. And if you did make it this long, I appreciate you, because I know this is a long ass video, but I felt like it was important to cover all this. So thank you guys so much for watching.